Whoa, what's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/StoriesAboutKevin. Alright, this story's called Hawk is Not Allergic to Ants. That's not a freaking ant! Originally posted on r/military stories, but was told to post here as it is about Kevin. Warning! My particular brand of storytelling is not for the faint of heart or politically correct. At times, I will use terminology that lacks sophistication or good taste when describing the human anatomy. Furthermore, I can guarantee you that you will be reading some four-letter cuss words. It is not my intention to offend you, the reader, or in this case, the listener, OP does not have a notional gun to your head. You are under no obligation to read this story. Speak for yourself, buddy. Therefore, I don't want to hear any complaining if you chose to ride shotgun in my twisted brain. Okay, I'm gonna say this now because I know there's gonna be someone complaining, so I'm just gonna say right now, if you feel the need to complain about this story, then go ahead in the comments. I'm here for you. Don't shoot the messenger though, which is your boy here. Okay, let's continue. Please, I strongly encourage you to read the below link to greater insight about the bipedal human known as Hawk. I'ma cut y'all a deal. The story he linked is soups dupes long, but if y'all request it enough, i.e. like the video enough, I will consider reading it. Anyway, are you like me? Did you bypass the above link or decide it was way too much reading? Yes, then you are totally like me. Hey, I still feel I would be doing you an injustice without at least providing the cliff notes regarding our character Hawk. This story requires, at the very least, a nascent understanding about this mindless drone. Raise your hand if you know of Albert Einstein. Raise them. Okay. Being that I cannot see them, you can put your frickin' hands down now. Now, how many of us know William James Sidis? He was a child prodigy, brilliant mathematician, and fluent in 25 different languages. His intelligence quotient, or IQ, was estimated to be 50 to 100 points higher than Albert Einstein. William James Sidis was frickin' smart. For the sake of argument, let us just assume that old Willie resides at one end of the spectrum, the smartest humanoid ever side. Now enter Hawk. Hawk is the guy that resides at the other end of the spectrum. I am truly sorry, but I honestly believe that some of you are still not getting it. Imagine us, humanoids, were not the result of mom and dad playing hide the sausage. Instead, imagine Jesus Christ, or whoever you subscribe to, has an assembly line style factory that mass-produced humankind. This state-of-the-art factory produces humans of different size, shape, color, and intellect. Then one day, Modelovirus 19 or Brovid-19 hits and they are unable to get their shipment of intellect. The intellect machine has literally only one drop of brain juice and only capable of making a human, a cooter hair smarter than an amoeba. The human that rolled off the assembly line that day was Hawk, the kind of man who wipes his ass before crapping. It was dawn, and everybody was loading up on the light medium tactical vehicle, or LMTV, or truck. There was excitement in the air. The entire company, 150 humanoids, was going to the range. We were about to shoot little green Oompa Loompa lovers with lead jelly beans fired from pistols, assault rifles, and machine guns. The smell of cleaner, lubricant, and preservative, CLP, was ripe on all the weapon systems, and I had a slight murder boner. After loading up, the convoy began its 30-minute trip to one of three ranges, pistol, rifle, machine gun, we would be occupying for the day of activities. We arrive and the men pile out the back. Everyone except Hawk. Hawk, get off the frickin' truck. I can't, Sergeant OP. Why? I have convoy, Rooster. Okay. Convoy rooster is a military term describing an erect penis as a result of the pleasant vibrations while riding in a military vehicle. Hawk, get off the frickin' truck! Hawk's looking at me like I kicked his puppy. Okay, Sergeant, please don't start my boner though. Hawk, I don't give a damn about your boner.
get off the frickin' truck!
Hawk slowly makes his way off the truck. Nobody stare at Hawk. He is embarrassed about riding on the truck with 30 other men and getting a boner.
Nobody stare at Hawk's boner!
The range is exactly what you'd expect it to be. Glorious. Uncle Sugar was paying us to shoot firearms all day. Life doesn't get much better than that. Unless you have a Hawk in your formation. Around noon, we put the range in a check fire status, letting all the retired sergeant majors at range control know we would be taking a reprieve from the intense heat to enjoy our Army Happy Meals, meals ready to eat, or MREs. I was nearly about to deliver my first heaping spoon of beef stew goodness when I see the crap show known as Hawk approaching me. He had both his hands cupped together and was intently staring into his palms, and a crap-eating grin on his face.
Look, Sergeant, I caught a cow ant.
Google cow ant. These are indestructible little lovers. You can step on them 10 times and they will continue to make a grunt-like sound and keep trucking along. Hawk, you know I am deadly allergic to bees, right? I thought you were deadly allergic to bees, too. With his still stupid freaking grin.
Yeah, I know, Sergeant. We are like allergy twins.
Don't ever say we are twins again, okay? But why don't you do me a favor? Stop screwing with that and slowly put it down. Hawk talking to me like I'm the dumb one now. Matter-of-fact style tone to his voice.
Sergeant, it's a cow ant. It's not a bee.
For fire truck's sake. Yes, it is not a bee. It's also not a freaking ant though either. It's a wingless female wasp. You're holding a freaking wasp. It was at that moment Hawk realized oh man, I want to do he messed up. Rather than acting with calmness and gently setting this creature back down onto the ground, frickin' Hawk reacts like a crazy person and attempts to swat the cow ant.
Screw you, buddy. Sting.
At the top of his lungs and falling to the ground.
It stung me, Sergeant! Oh my god, it stung me!
Frickin' great. This is just simply frickin' great. I applaud Darwin for doing everything in his powers to eradicate this human error. But I don't need him dying on my watch.
Fornication under consent of the king ×3.
Hawk, where is your EpiPen?
I didn't bring it, Sergeant.
Why?
I didn't think I needed it, Sergeant. Didn't think you needed it, Hawk? Fine.
Here's my EpiPen. I'm gonna get the medics. Do you know how to use this?
Yes, of course I know how to use it, Sergeant.
I start to walk towards Field Litter Ambulance, or FLA. Other soldiers are now gathering around Hawk. Not to deliver stellar medical aid or suck the poison out, though. They are there to laugh. I am about 20 meters away, and I get this nagging sensation that I need to look back. My spidey senses were on point. I turn to see an all too familiar scene from Pulp Fiction. The scene where John Travolta is about to deliver a shot of adrenaline into the chest of an overdosed Uma Thurman. Hawk had the EpiPen above his chest, both hands extended, and was evidently working up the intestinal fortitude to plunge epinephrine directly into his heart while wearing a freaking plate carrier, or an armor vest. I immediately turn and sprint back towards Hawk.
Hawk! Freaking no!
Thankfully, he stops. I cease my sprint, but continue walking towards Hawk. I don't even have the adequate time to react to what happens next. Hawk sits up from his heart plunge position, looks at me, and then immediately thrusts the EpiPen into his now swollen hand. I pause. I was in complete and utter disbelief. This pile of human cells truly swims at the shallow end of the gene pool. He is deathly allergic to bees and doesn't even know how to perform the life-saving measures that are clearly depicted on the side of every EpiPen. I am now within feet of reaching him, and now I am almost wanting to watch an anaphylactic death dance to take place in the dirt.
It didn't work, Sergeant.
Then before I can say anything, he freaking thrust the EpiPen into his hand again and again.
Stop, freaking stop!
Hawk is now looking at me. I had just kicked his puppy again, still in obvious pain.
It's not working, Sergeant.
First, you need to read the instructions. The shot goes into your outer thigh. Second, you have to take the blue safety off for the auto-injector to work. By this time, and thankfully, another smart human fetched the medic. Hawk successfully and finally delivered the EpiPen into his thigh and would shortly be on his way to the emergency room to ensure that he was going to avoid Darwinism yet again. He would arrive back at the range hours later, and typical Hawk fashion, with a grin and freaking cartoonishly large man hand. Hawk, you good to go?
I'm good, Sergeant. I can't fire a weapon, though. My hand is too big.
Yes, I can see that, Hawk. I was about to turn and walk away.
Sergeant? Yes, Hawk. I went to the bathroom while I was at the ER.
That's great, Hawk. Poo-eating grin reappears.
No, my penis looks really small in my hand. It feels good, though.
That's great, Hawk. That's freaking great. Dear reader, as requested, another story about Hawk. I only have a couple more, though. Well, a couple more I believe I can write a decent story about. You have to realize that while I was climbing the corporate ladder, Hawk was holding down the button so that I and every other soldier on Earth could climb their way past Specialist. I will tell you the tale of Hawk and his missing ID card next week. I will be introducing new characters and providing some more stories about John and Aaron as well. Cheers. Well, that was a funny story. I like that one. See, that whole warning at the beginning, while it is appreciated, of course, a little unnecessary. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting. Regardless, really good story. I love this guy's writing style. User Sloppy Ice Cream. Not ice cream, ice cream. Really good story, man. Thank you for sharing, and I can't wait to read more from you. And I hope you guys like this video enough so that I can read the Hawk intro. All right, here is a story called Never Feed Kavinas After Midnight. Or any time of day, really. I have the misfortune of living with Kavina 1 and Kavina 2. Kavinas 1 and 2 are pretty awful roommates. Not the psychotic types you read about on r/bad roommates. Ooh, is that a new video? But they're also twin black holes that radiate neediness. As international students, the Kavinas don't own cars and aren't interested in procuring one. That being said, the Kavinas are attending school in an area where a car is a necessity. As the only member of the apartment with a car, I was willing to drive them to get groceries at first. But the Kavinas, being Kavinas, couldn't help but screw with me until my patience ran out. Kavina 1 decided that my willingness to drive equals a slavish desire to make her life easier and started coming to me for homework help. After I refused, she started crying and told me that it's only fair I buy things for her because I'm a California native who has a license. She also repeatedly emphasized that she needed straight A's and told me that I was mean and it was on me if she failed her classes. This was right after she handed me a list of things she wanted me to buy. Needless to say, I did not buy them and I stopped driving them places. As a result, she's given up on ever owning pads and tampons and has proceeded to use toilet paper as an alternative. She's also given up on ever owning a trash can. Sadly, this isn't even the height of Kavina 1's stupidity. Kavina 1 is an avid cheater. She also believes that cheating is the norm for students. So she announces that she's going to cheat to our whole apartment. I generally disapprove of cheating, but I'm not gonna snitch. Kavina 1 is the type who always wants to get her way. Recently, she got into a huge fight with me over toilet paper. I only sleep in our apartment 3 nights a week, so my use of toilet paper is very limited. Nevertheless, I don't want a nickel and dime, so we alternate buying toilet paper. This wasn't good enough for her. She thought that I should take over buying the toilet paper, since I owed her from being from LA and because I hadn't driven her to the market recently. Apparently, she was incapable of taking the bus to get communal supplies. Kavina 1 is cheap as frog and never pays, so I was hesitant and decided that I'd buy toilet paper the next week, seeing as I had left 6 big rolls in the cabinet the week before. When I got to our apartment, I found that Kavina 1 had torn through the toilet paper at a demonic speed and neglected to let me know that we were out. I had my own toilet paper. She didn't. I decided that she could make do without toilet paper for the next week. She unleashed her frustrations by telling me that she would start demanding complete complete silence after 10 p.m. Never mind that she hadn't exactly adhered to this rule last quarter. When I told her that I'd like to negotiate this, she flew into a rage. Cue at the frothing mouth and
You think you're better than me? I don't give a crap about your
OP's alma mater.
I am so much better than you. My CV would blow you away in a heartbeat.
Launching a personal attack when other people have dirt on you is just the sort of thing Kavinas would do, isn't it? I seriously mulled turning her in. She'd lose her scholarship in a heartbeat. Kavina 2 was another kind of stupid and mean. Kavina 2 took forever to shop, so when I first took her to get groceries, she'd spend about 2 hours just looking around. Kavina 2 was also demanding. As soon as she'd finished shopping, she demanded that I drop everything and help her carry her groceries to my car. I stopped offering to take Kavina 2 to the market after the first time. Kavina 2 sympathized with Kavina 1 about homework and tried ganging up on me in order to force me to help. After I gave her a piece of my mind, she backed off. We didn't really talk again, although we did have a conversation about teaching, during which Kavina 2 fantasized extensively about students seeking her out for motherly love. It was a creepy conversation where Kavina 2 repeatedly expressed her intense desire to live out a hardcore fan fiction where she would sacrifice her mental health for her students' welfare. Well, that never happened. None of her students have seeked her out so far. Probably felt the creep vibes coming off of her a mile away. Anyway, Kavina 1 tried to lasso Kavina 2 into our roommate drama, and Kavina 2's opening salvo was this:
You've been violating my human rights.
When I asked her to elaborate, she told me that because I never really talked to her, she felt extremely attacked. When I pointed out that we had nothing in common and that I was really too busy, she told me that she felt subhuman. When Kavina 1 burst in with the interjection that we were not friends, I latched onto this quickly, only to be told by Kavina 2 that we were a family and I was obligated to love her. Apparently, this was the way things are done in her native country, and she would really prefer that we civilize ourselves. After I concluded that I was dealing with a pair of nutjobs, I slowly extricated myself from the situation. Kavina's 1 and 2 then turned against each other. I have no idea what set them off, but they proceeded to start World War III in the room next to mine. And from what I could make out, there were repeated accusations of betrayal and repeated professions of love. No, they are not lesbians. Now I leave them alone. I figure that they're going to save me the trouble and rip each other to pieces sooner or later. Did someone say ideal living situation? Because I think this is it. I'm just kidding, OP. I sympathize with you. I can imagine that being a sort of frustrating thing to be a part of because in reality, you can't win. You give in to their demands, there's only more demands to be had. You don't give in, you're a jerk. Alright, this story's called Kevin Learns About Continents. During school, I walked in front of a big map with my friends. Looking at it, I say, you know, Russia is probably bigger than the rest of Europe put together. Kevin, of course, hears this and is immediately dubious. After many Google searches and general estimation of the map, I say, but Russia spans across all of Asia, and that continent is huge. At this point, Kevin just gets really confused and says,
Wait, Asia is a continent?
That's pretty much when I think I won that argument. Wow, well that's our education system put on blast right there. No child left behind, am I right, bushy old boy? I'm just kidding. I'm sure it was only like 97% George Bush's fault directly. You bastard!
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.